Well, I think it's concerning because it's the first time ever we see in the UK that's the consulate staff, that's they dressed in the riot's gear, stepping outside of the consulate grounds onto the UK soil in an attempt to remove protest banners, placards, and pictures on the street, which is also in the UK soil. So in this attempt to quash the protest, the consulate resorted to brutal violence, at least what we have seen based on the CCTV footage. The consular officials can be seen dragging protesters onto consulate grounds behind the gate and proceeding to beat them in the full field of the Greater Manchester Police. So I think it's concern to most of the Hong Kongers and CCP critics, and even many peoples in the UK, whether that they could exert their freedoms of assembly, protest in the UK soil, not to be harassed and assaulted. I think it's outrageous, and that's why it's concerning to most of the people's safety in the UK.
Yeah, it is concerning when you think many of you have almost sought refuge in the UK to try and continue the campaign against all the freedoms that you have lost.
Yes.
So how do you feel the UK should respond to what happened?
Well, first of all, when the violence happened outside, even inside of the PLC consulate in Manchester, we almost immediately urged the UK Home Secretary and Greater Manchester Police to initiate a criminal investigations against the attackers. And the UK Foreign Secretary, we think, he should also summon the Consul General, who is believed to be involved into the attack, and even the Chinese ambassador for an apology and to bear any legal and diplomatic consequences. And, you know, like we already see that the Greater Manchester Police already started the investigation, they take it seriously. And the UK Foreign Secretary also summons the deputy second top diplomat in the UK. So I think that it needs to be it needs to be consequential. Otherwise, that they would go further. And it's also worrying because, you know, the protesters that they exert their freedom to protest outside the consulate during the period of the party congress back in Beijing. The consulate replied to BBC Chinese and other media said any kind of the diplomatic mission cannot tolerate that heads of state could be derogated by the protesters. But this is not the excuse, you know, to justify this violence crackdown on the peaceful Hong Kong protesters.
How, when you were watching Xi's speech, if you were watching it or just saw the reporting of it and, as you pointed out, realised that the Congress is going to entrench him and his vision for at least another 5 years, how does that make you feel in terms of the future and your future, the future of Hong Kong?
Well, I think that the futures of Hong Kong, I think, is still full of uncertainty. Not only that, but also we can see the chief executive of Hong Kong obviously is unelected, but they would pretend that is elected. Right today, that he issued a policy address, and it showed a strong sense of non-confidence because the main theme of the policy address trying to restore the confidence that to attract back a lot of the foreign professionals and especially the financial professionals come back to work within this so-called international financial hub and center. But obviously we can see they unwittingly admit the exodus actually happening in Hong Kong, a very serious brain drain. The young people, the foreign professionals leaving from Hong Kong. And the main reason is they don't believe after the national security law has been imposed in Hong Kong, the basic rule of law could be maintained. And that is very important when the people they do business over there, they need this kind of rule of law to protect their own private property and even other certain freedoms and rights. But if that cannot be guaranteed, I think is almost nowhere back, no matter how they could pretend that is, business as usual.
And to your point, even John Lee's speech, the new chief executive, indicated the financial damage that has been done. But Xi Jinping doesn't seem to be too concerned about the economic fallout for his vision of security and reunification.
Yes, indeed. It's absolutely, we can say, and during the speech of the President Xi Jinping, he oftenly mentioned about reunification with Taiwan. So definitely, he think, like now Hong Kong is restored as a safe city, as he described. However, I think that, the top Chinese leaderships and the party officials, they prioritize their own political security over everything, over every other factors, even the economic benefit, trade and investment. I think that they see what's the nature of the national security. First of all is to protect their own one-party system, which the one-party system also to guarantee President Xi himself and the party will be still above everything to be a backbone to govern the country over the people. So when already we see the distrust amount, the West, the international society and China will continue.
Simon, really good to get your thoughts on some of these issues. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.